What happens to jointly owned property? When couples decide to separate or divorce, one of the biggest questions they face is what happens to jointly owned property. This can include the family home, vehicles, and even businesses. Understanding how these assets are treated is essential for both parties involved. First, it is important to know about the marital estate. This term refers to all assets acquired during the marriage. Jointly owned property falls under this category. However, assets obtained before the marriage or received as gifts are usually considered separate property unless they have been mixed with marital assets. Now, let's talk about how jointly owned property is divided during a divorce. If both spouses can agree on how to split the property, the court will typically approve their agreement. This can involve one spouse buying out the other's share or even continuing to co-own the property as a rental investment. But what if the couple cannot reach an agreement? In that case, the court will step in to make the decision. The court aims for a fair division based on several factors. These can include each spouse's contributions to the marriage, their economic situations, and the value of any separate property they may own. Sometimes, the court may order the sale of the jointly owned property. This is common if neither spouse can afford to buy out the other or if they cannot agree on how to proceed. The proceeds from the sale are then divided according to the laws of the state. Continuing to co-own property after a divorce is also an option. This can be a smart choice if neither spouse can afford to buy out the other right away. It can also be beneficial if the property is expected to increase in value or if it can generate rental income. If both spouses can move out, they might consider keeping the family home as a rental property. This arrangement requires an agreement on how to share the rental income, and often, hiring a property manager can help with day-to-day tasks. Financial considerations play a big role in dividing jointly owned property. Couples need to think about the current value of the property and any potential changes in value. They also need to consider ongoing expenses like mortgages, taxes, and maintenance costs. If one spouse buys out the other, they may need to refinance the mortgage to remove the other spouse's name from the loan. Navigating the division of jointly owned property can be challenging. Understanding these aspects can help couples make informed decisions during a divorce. By addressing financial, legal, and personal factors, both parties can work towards a resolution that suits their needs.